And we are back. And we are back. I'm going to take a caller 1 second, but I want to get this out right quick. If you live in Michigan and you are a driver or a passenger, and there is a safety concern, maybe there's a little weaving, as the police may say, maybe you didn't use your blinker appropriately, and you get stopped. Michigan Vehicle Code Section 257.602. Listen to this. A person shall not refuse to comply with a lawful order or direction of a police officer when that officer, for public interest and safety, he was weaving in the lane, he didn't use his blinker, he could have caused an accident, etc., and is guiding, directing, controlling, or regulating traffic on the highways of the state. What does that mean? That means that the police can stop you and they can ask you to get out that car, and then you're going to have to comply. But listen to me. If you are a passenger or driver, the police stop you, ask for, say what they may have seen you do. Hey, Robin, happy New Year's to you as well. And they may have seen you do something, which they're gonna say, well, you were, you made a turn without signaling, or you moved from one lane to the next, some pretext reason. You have to get out your car, but lock the door and put the damn window up when you do. The first thing the police do, they put their face all in there. They got their face all in there. Why? Because they are trying to smell weed and or see a handgun. What do we know about that? That is called, if a person in plain view. Plain view says that if I have a reason, a lawful reason to stop a vehicle, even if it's a pretext, and a pretext is they really want to see what's in your car, but they're going to say that you went to another lane without properly signaling, or that you were weaving in the lane a little bit, or that some pretext reason. Then the first thing to do, they got their head in your car because they trying to smell weed. They smell weed, they can get in your car because you're not supposed to smoke weed and drive. And then they hopefully that they can find a gun, and then everybody in there, if it's driver, front seat passenger, and 3 people, it's one gun, everybody gonna get a CCW so that the police can get overtime. Okay, we know the game. But here's the thing. Let me give you some game. First of all, and I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. Maybe I need to get a billboard to say this. You cannot drive and smoke bud. You cannot drive and smoke weed. You cannot drive smoking your little thing. You can't smell it because you smoke. Now I'm going to tell you what I want you to do. For those people who got children, family, friends, or yourself. If most weed smokers don't smoke cigarettes, okay, I smoke a cigarette. So if I smell cigarette smoke, I don't smell cigarette smoke because I smoke. If you get in a car with somebody that smokes cigarettes and you're a weed smoker, you say, ooh, I can smell the cigarette. You can't smell the weed because you smoke weed. Well, when you're driving a vehicle, that smell is naturally emitted from the car. So you can be in the car and it can be a car ahead of you, side of you, and you're like, damn, I'm about to get high my damn self. Let me just follow them to their destination. Because you can smell the weed. They can't. They think the weed is out the car. Okay? Number one. But if in fact you stopped, make sure, and they said exit, you put them windows up and you lock them doors. They can't get in there then. They cannot get in there. Those are things that you need to be able to pass along. So people often say, well, do I have to lawfully get out of a vehicle? What did I tell you? Huh? In Michigan, I just gave you the site that says it, MCL Michigan Vehicle Code 25.7.602. A person shall not refuse to comply with a lawful order or direction of a police officer when that officer for public safety allege and safety. Okay, so all they have to do is say, well, because that person was weaving a little bit in their lane, they could have been drunk driving, they could have hit me or someone else. You know what I'm saying? So if they decide to stop that vehicle and there are 5 occupants, everybody got to get out. Everybody got to get out. Okay, but you lock your door. Okay, when you get out, and you put them damn windows up. So if they say, yes, officer, you want me to get out? Okay, with my stuff in hand, all that putting that window down, don't do that, especially you got weed in there. What do you need? Okay, cool. It's the COVID. You know what I'm saying? COVID. 1 second. Let me get my license. Don't put that window down. And you know what's in there? Get your license. Get your registration. Get your butt out that car and leave it locked and keep them windows up. Because they then, while detaining you, potentially going to be looking all around in the car anyway. Put them windows up. Most people got kind of like a soft little tint to them. Okay? But do you have to get out? Yes. So, many people rely on this. Now, what we don't want is, there's case law that says you really, you can challenge it. Being on the side of the road with them police, anybody with a gun is right, okay? And how you resolve that issue is when you get away from them. But if a person got a gun, they right. That's all I'm saying. My point being to you, then you handle it. You make a complaint after you get out of that danger. But I'm sure not going to be arguing with nobody, and they got a gun, and they can give me a ticket or write me up a damn felony. I'm going to shut my mouth, and the minute that I get back in my vehicle, I'm going to make eyeball contact of what that number is, and I'm going to tell on them. And or put your camera on. Yes, you can record, put your camera on. Let me tell you something. That camera is the best thing smoking, okay? Best thing smoking. So my point being to you all, you have to be able to know the law. This ain't then if you refuse, they can say, well, you did not refuse based on this particular statute. And then you can get what's known as a resisting and obstructing. So now you've gone from a civil infraction or misdemeanor to a felony because you are here trying to play police cop, and they pull this out. So I'm just letting you all know that what you need to do. But let me explain this again for the people in the back. You cannot smoke weed in a car. I don't care how much of that cover-up smell you got. I don't care. You can smell it. It emits from the vehicle, especially now. And what do we know? We know this. And I have told you, and please listen, because we have COVID. And remember we talked about the redistricting? I'm going to put you on some game. Listen. Just like I told you, people got to figure a way around the situation. When COVID began to occur, the courts was closed. Police could not get overtime. So now what do? The governor, as well as the federal government, is putting money, giving federal aid to take guns off the street, which is a good idea. So now it's a slush fund worth of money to get guns off the street. So what police is doing is, if they think that they can smell some weed, or that there's a little erratic move and they want to stop a car, and they got 5 people in one gun, bingo. They get to go to 5 court appearances. 5, and if they get to be overtime, it's time and a half. So time, I think they get, say, $30, time and a half. So now they up to $40 an hour being on Zoom per person that they arrested. 40 times 5, okay, is 200. They racking up. And so they're using the money that's been allocated to pay all this overtime. So if I'm a police officer, do I want to chase one person who done committed an armed robbery, or do I stop a car that smell like weed and it could be a gun in there and there's 5 people? That's 5 times I get to be in court. You do the math. Which one you gonna get more money on? And which one is gonna be safer? The police do the gun. So what you have is an influx of people being arrested for gun possession because they're rewarded with time and a half when they have to go to court. So now 36 district, is closing down, limiting exposure. So all you got to do is be at home like we've been doing and get on Zoom. You in the comfort of your own home on your off day, getting paid, testifying at a hearing as a police officer, and then you waiting in the waiting room. Then from the time you log on till they get to you might be 3 or 4 hours. Then you testify. You done made $300 or $400 just sitting there, and they know that. Okay, so I'm teaching it. I'm breaking it down. We'll be back, and then I got a couple callers. I know y'all tired of me talking.